All right, and everybody can see, right? Yes. All right. So thanks, everybody. I would be kind of standing up for this presentation, but I got a lot of demos and everything going on. So my name is Frank, W2FJH, and I'll be talking about operating with digital voice. So quick rundown of the agenda here. We'll be going through a quick review of some terminology. There's a lot to discuss when we talk about digital voice. So I'm going to try to keep it higher level and not get into the. I mean, I could probably do like a 2-hour presentation on writing code plugs. We'll try to keep it higher level. We'll then go on and start talking about some of the hardware for a hotspot. We'll be talking about the multi-mode digital voice modem, or MMDVM. We'll proceed down to talking about the software that the hotspot is running on. There's 2 flavors primarily. There's many different flavors of hotspots, but the WPSD project is one of them. You might have also heard of Pi-Star as one of them. So then we'll be actually getting down into the different modes. So we'll be talking about Yaesu System Fusion reflectors, or YSF. We'll be talking about digital mobile radio, DMR, and wires X. Finally, I'll be talking a little bit about the Southern Tier activity and additional ways to connect. So I did make a bullet here. While this is digital voice, D-Star I will not be covering. I don't own an ICOM radio. I haven't gotten too big into D-Star, so for me to talk about that portion of it, I don't think I would do it justice. So, all right. A quick overview of some of the terminology here. Okay, sorry, on my screen I got the other views blocking some part of this, but it looks like you guys can see it all right. Okay, so we'll be talking about talk groups, rooms, and reflectors. Depends on which mode you're talking about. They all kind of reference it slightly differently. But essentially, these are the channel that you're talking in. Or a better analogy, if you remember the AOL days, how you had chat rooms. Well, you go into one chat room, you're talking with people there. If you go in a different one, you're talking with people over there. So, but essentially, that's what they are. They're different rooms to be chatting in. So, for DMR specifically, we'll be talking about time slots. It is important to make sure that when you're transmitting or receiving that you are operating on the right time slot, because with DMR, it is TDMA, time division multiple access. So if you are listening on time slot 1, but somebody's talking on time slot 2, you may or may not be able to hear that. So that's what a time slot is. Color codes. It's also specifically to DMR, but you can kind of think of this as the CPCSS tones. It's if you don't have the right color code or 2 repeaters in the same area, they might be pretty close in frequency. They can operate with 2 different color codes, and this way they're not conflicting with each other there. Or your squelch won't open up for that. So, all right, hotspots. These are devices that will connect out to the internet. They take the digital voice RF frequency and they'll transmit it over the internet. So again, for D-Star, DMR, and C4FM, and that's kind of like a gateway when you're not in range of a repeater. Then we'll be talking about the multi-mode digital voice modem. It's a Raspberry Pi hat that will send and receive digital voice signals. So this is part of a hotspot, which we will talk about. Oh, I'm sorry, it was the previous slide, but yeah, we're going to give a quick, we'll talk about it in just 1 second, one more slide, but we're going to talk about a quick high-level overview of digital voice. So again, I'm trying to, let me minimize this on my screen here so I can see. Okay. So first, I guess we'll start off with just the repeater, because everybody loves repeaters. So from the repeater, you can, again, transmit through RF into a mobile or to an HT. These packets are sent out to the internet, which the internet, they can be transferred either to a hotspot, which then is transferred over to an HT, a mobile rig again, or potentially through a phone or PC. You can, actually connect directly to some of these networks. All right. So now we're getting into the actual hardware of one of the hotspots. So this is the multi-mode digital voice modem. Again, a Raspberry Pi hat. It is used to receive, send and receive digital signals, and it comes in a couple different flavors. 4 hotspots. The 2 pictures on the top here. This is an MMDVM. It's for a Raspberry Pi Zero. You'll see the form factor is slightly smaller. This is the MMDVM board sitting on top. This is the Raspberry Pi underneath there. They're connected by some header pins through the board itself. I'm not showing my camera right now, but you can actually see on this guy some of the header pins that they're connected through. Well, actually, you can see it here too. So this is on a Raspberry Pi 3. Again, this is the MMDVM board. Here are the header pins that are actually, that's why they call it a hat. You basically can put it right on top. All right, so those are for hotspots. You'll notice they have antennas directly connected to them. For repeaters, they do make MMDVM boards as well. But as you notice here, there's no antenna connections. There's no SMA connector to connect antenna. These are going to connect and receive through a serial cable that you can actually connect directly to the repeater. One company that makes them is this Repeater Builder. They even make the special cables depending on what repeater you're talking about. They'll build a cable directly to connect to the serial port of the repeater, actually into this. And again, you can buy the hat or you can buy the complete pre-built assembly with the case and everything from them. And they will connect directly to some of those repeaters. Did also note here that there was a special version of this that was floating around there. During the pandemic in 2020, some of the Raspberry Pis were very difficult to come by. And there was actually a version of these that came out that they didn't require a Raspberry Pi to work with it. It was actually just an MMDVM. You connected it to your PC directly through a USB, and it actually used the software on your PC to communicate. So,
back up 2 slides. When you showed how you can connect it to a PC, were you talking about something like Echolink?
So, something similar to Echolink. There's software. There's the PI-Star, and there's also WP-Star. There's pieces of software that you can download for. I think Joystar also, you can find a Linux version as well, but Windows, and I believe Mac as well. That I think you can find the downloads for them. But I can demonstrate that later on in the presentation and kind of get into some of the extra ways. Same thing with like your cell phone. There's WP-Star for Android and also for iOS.
You would need a hand license because part of it does go out over our.
Correct. You'll have to register with radioid.net. They will give you a specific ID for that. Well, I guess if you're doing DMR, if you're doing YSF, I guess you don't need to do that, but you will still need to. The same procedures. When you transmit, you have to give a call sign every 10 minutes. And it is broadcast, sorry, 15 minutes, but it is broadcast. You'll see their call sign kind of as you're transmitting. Some say, oh, well, you're transmitting that, but really be on the safe side, always give your call sign every 15 minutes. So okay. Any other questions before I move on there?
One quick one.
Yeah.
With some.
Yep.
One that had one antenna, the one that had 2. Could you?
Yes.
What about? I guess one's complex, probably.
Yes. So, if you are doing YSF, it'll make no difference. You're only capable of talking on one channel at a time, one reflector. But if you do get into DMR, it will make a difference because when you have a simplex hotspot, you will only have time slot 2 available for use. When you get into duplex, you can actually use time slots 1 and 2. Honestly, for a lot of people, I say just stick with the simplex one. Most of the time, you're not going to need to talk on 2 different time slots. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's also a little bit more straightforward too, because you're not getting more things confused. But duplex is more like you have a mini repeater that you're capable, and so. But good question though. Any others before I continue on? Or if there are, I might answer a few of them as we go along here. So, all right.
We're gonna have to unmute or change the audio. We have people questioning from the live stream. We do have.
Yes. Is there any question from the line?
There's one in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll take it later. All right. See you later, Jason.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't watching the chat there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anybody that's out there, if anyone on the live on the Zoom want to ask a question, put it in the chat and we'll have Frank answer. It has to be about DMR.
All right. So we're going to talk about some of the software now that runs off of the hotspot. So this is the WPSD project. It improves upon the base of the Pi-Star software. And some folks might be familiar with Pi-Star, and if not, we'll run through that here in a second. So, Pi-Star and WPSD is a software running on the Raspberry Pi, and it interfaces with the MMDVM hat. And you configure all this through a web interface. So I did give the official definition of what WPSD here is from their site. WPSD is the next generation of digital voice software suite and distribution for amateur radio use. But yeah. All right. So this here is the WPSD main interface. It is the dashboard. Hopefully everybody can see some of that, or I can always switch over. Yes.
You got it. So you got it.
In the back and everything, you can read some of the text or no?
No.
No?
If you stop staring, just use your webcam. That'd be probably the way to do it, and then go back to the. Because right now, it just. Well, right now I'm just seeing. What am I doing? Somehow I got saloons. Oh, that's your webcam. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I could pull up a browser if this is too small. Just on the slide itself.
If you wanted to show your webcam to everybody, I guess what are we trying to accomplish?
Oh, I was trying to accomplish showing what I have here. I was asking if you could read some of the font.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
Or if it was too tiny for the folks in the back of the room there. It's small? Okay. Thank you. So let's pull it up here. Let's just go to it live. And let me see here. I can try to make it a little bit bigger. Your internet connection is unstable. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is the main dashboard. Here up along the banner. You'll see, what the current radio status is, what the transmit and receive frequencies are, the radio mode, as Gary pointed out, that this one is a simplex one, so you'll be transmitting and receiving off of the same frequency. Some other modem speed ports and the modem type and everything, not necessarily important. As you see here, it'll give you a banner for the current caller, their name, location, mode that they're using. And in the gateway activity, it will show you all the time of when somebody had transmitted, call sign, the country, the mode that they're in. Right now, this is in YSF mode. Their target, where they were transmitting, source and the duration of their transmission, as well as the loss. Sometimes if there is, unstable internet, or the internet is not rock solid, or potentially when they're transmitting from 20 miles away to a repeater, maybe their signal isn't the greatest to get in, so there is some loss there. So, okay, flipping back quick. I did include these. I guess some of these we might come back and revisit because there's some of the administration pages and stuff like that as we talk about different things. This is the administration page for Brandmeister. When we start talking about talk groups and static talk groups and dynamic talk groups, stuff like that. Just wanted to give a quick glance over some of the panels here. Again, this is for YSF. You'll be selecting potentially with some of the reflectors that you want to connect to here. And this is the live caller, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, you should be able to see right here as a demonstration is going on. Those folks in the room, I do have another panel that they should be seeing the live caller screen come up as we go along through this presentation in the demo. And this is the configuration panel, partial. The configuration panel actually has a lot of stuff. As I said, there's sometimes a lot of details to this, and I was trying to keep this as how to operate once you have everything set up and going. So, but I do want to show this just because of the different modes. You do have D-Star, YSF. You have an M17 project, which is a little bit similar to DMR, except their voice encoder is also open source. So everything from the ground up is based off of amateur radio, and it's all open source. You have DMR, E25, NXDN, and POCSAG. I haven't really messed that much, but I've heard about like a pager type thing. So, and you do have some, just to mention, you do have some cross modes where it's YSF to DMR or DMR to YSF. So, all right. Any questions before we get into YSF? Yeah.
Can you only run one mode at a time on a hotspot, or can you run DMR and YSF, or only one?
Yeah, can those folks online, can you hear Gary's question about?
I was just go ahead and just repeat it.
Okay, he was asking if you have to run only one mode at a time on a hotspot. For simplicity, I would say yes, and I'll show you here in just a minute about some of the profiles of what you want to do. But you do not have to. You can run YSF and DMR off of the same hotspot or repeater for that matter. But when you're doing it personally, you can grab any radio. For a repeater, makes it a little touchy because if somebody's transmitting as YSF, the DMR will see that there's a signal, but won't be able to actually receive or understand what that transmission is about. But yes, you can do that, and you can actually flip. There's a hang time. So once you've done transmitting for YSF, after 20 seconds, it will start listening for both, either YSF or DMR, as you go through there. So, yeah. Any other questions? Okay. All right. For YSF. With YSF, we have the YSF reflectors. And just know here, YSF, wires X, two different things. We'll go through that as part of this presentation. So the YSF reflectors, they're open by hands. So each reflector has a 5-digit unique number. The reflectors can be specific to a topic, a region, or tied to a repeater or repeater system. There's no organization, really. It's just kind of, as long as the 5-digit number is not in use, you can use that 5-digit unique number. So I did also include a link here to the YSF reflectors. So if you were looking for a specific group, or you're just trying to browse, and that hex is going to be super small for everybody, but you'll get the idea of the extent of how many reflectors there are out there. So Ed NH2W, actually, didn't include it in this slide. But he also does have a, sorry, maybe it was in the next slide there. Okay, it was in the next slide. So I was going to say, Ed does have a link for YSF nets. So if you are looking at and getting into YSF, you're looking at, hey, I want to join a few nets. There is a calendar here, and some of these that you see, like this one, of course, I can pull up. It doesn't have a YSF reflector. But if you were looking for join the Southeast TAG multi-mode digital net, you have the YSF reflector numbers right here as you go along through, and this is you know, the Illinois link. You can also join in. So Ed has done a great job in trying to organize some of these nets for things to find when you get on. So. All right. So I just had mentioned here some of the reflectors to try. Oops, let's go back. There we go. Some reflectors to try. Parrot, always a great one to make sure your radio is working. 00001. America Link, Texas Nexus, KCY is also usually a busy one. The QuadNet, actually Ed NE2W also told me about this one. They actually have multiple. It's a wide bridge of different digital voice and also I believe analog as well, with the All-Star and Echo Link and with all that you can get into the QuadNet. East Coast Reflector and even a zombie alert. So if you spot a zombie, we got a channel for you to go report that zombie. So all right, getting into it here. Yeah. All right. So if I grab my Yaesu here, this is the FT3DR, and I will stop screen sharing here, and we'll start. Yeah, stop screen sharing. Back this, and I'm still pinned. Yes. Okay. Okay. So we would start talking about YSF. So I do have my hotspot here. It's a simplex one. It is talking about 433.250 currently. So there are a few ways to do this. We'll first go into how do I do it for my radio. It's with YSF, it can be a little touchy. Sometimes the signal doesn't always get back to you. But first off, we'll go into that. You'll hit this X button. You can catch that. And as I said, sometimes the YSF portion of this is a little, it definitely is a lot more solid on the wireless side. So we'll see this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit search and direct. And for me, I want to go to, I do have some favorites here, but I will say I want to go to the ID of 00001. That is a parrot. And down here, you'll see that now I'm connected to this ZZ parrot. So if I hold down the X button here, we should be talking there. And this is W2FJH testing on parrot. And it'll come back to me to make sure that my radio is working fine. So, okay, if that is going good, I will also, again, those numbers, I could do the same process to go into, but I did want to also show that from the Pi-Star software. So I will switch back to screen share really quick. And we will go into the admin page. And just by the way, too, if you do have a Pi 3 or 4 compared to the Pi 0, they have a lot more processing power in them. So some of the Pi 0s, sometimes you click, gotta be a little bit patient, give it a second or two, it'll respond. All right, so YSF Manager. So right here, actually on the left sidebar here, you'll see that I do have YSF enabled. It is talking through the YSF net, whether coming in green. and my YSF status here. That's how I'm still talking in Parrot. So I want to change that. I want to go to America Link. So just happened to be the one that was already pulled up. So it's nice. I will click link and I will say request that change. And the command was sent across. And now we're in the room of America Link. And we'll give it a second here and see if anybody is communicating. If not, we might try KC wide, and this is kind of where the demo, I could have asked the ham gods to cooperate. I have a couple QSOs here. Usually some of these channels are very busy. If you know what one you want to come down, it's not already pre-selected for you, you can click on that, and I'm going to go to KC wide. I don't want backup. Kansas City wide, it is YSF reflector 32453. And if I link that one, let me see, we got some and you should also see probably on the live screen there that coming off of who's speaking right now.
Yes, right.
So it will tell you their location. I won't tell you the mileage they're away, but it will tell you where.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking like node to node. Oh, actually, you're talking this, right? Yeah. You see that the folks are 981 miles away. So.
And I know it all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say not in the software for WPSD, but yeah, I remember. Sorry, usually I don't click on that it's often, but a good point. So okay. Any questions on YSF? No? Okay. So turn him down really quick and I'll start the screen share again. And we're just going to, again, somebody's talking, you want to get out of it, hey, you can unlink. And
the southern
Give it a
tier
second here.
talk room's active.
Sorry, what was that?
The southern tier talk group's active. Room 21, 424.
Okay, I will get to that in just 1 second there, Ed, because the southern tier talk group doesn't have the YSF reflector, right? You're on DMR.
Well, they're on wires X. Yeah.
Oh, yes. We'll be talking about wires X shortly after DMR.
Okay.
But yeah, so YSF and wires X are two different things, and we'll see that here in just a minute. So I'm going to go into as Gary had mentioned, this is one of the ways that you could do this. You can actually set up different profiles. So once you configure your hotspot a certain way, you like it for YSF, you got your settings the way you want it. You can actually save your YSF settings here. Then you configure it as DMR or D-Star, NXDN, however you want. You can select that, hey, I want to work DMR now. I'm going to switch that profile. All right. And we'll give this a second while we go back to the presentation to sync up and get their networks all figured out. So let's go back. And we're going to be talking DMR. So, all right. DMR has several networks. So we're talking Brandmeister, we're talking TGIF, we're talking DMR Plus. Each of them are a little bit different, but they have different styles and layouts depending on which one you're using. So we'll talk about two of them here. Brandmeister is by far the most popular DMR network. It utilizes a few concepts of dynamic, static, and autostatic talk groups, and they're assigned to each time slot. So the Brandmeister is their talk groups are organized geographically. So there's 2 digits for the continents, 3 digits. I mean, typically this holds true. 3 digits for countries, 4 digits for states in the United States here. 5 digits are for areas within a state, 6 digits for repeaters, and 7 digits for individual users. So when you sign up with radioid.net, they'll give you a 7-digit number that is your unique ID. So, again, this bar's in my way here, but I think, oh, no, that wasn't my way there. So worldwide, Group 91, that's going along with the continent. Well, North America is 93. Worldwide is a very busy talk group. Basically, night or day, you can turn on the 91, and most of the time, 95% of the time, somebody's talking. So, USA has certain TAC channels. They're basically if you are on a busy talk group, you were on 91, you made a QSO, you want to continue that QSO, you can use the TAC groups 310 through 319. They're not calling frequencies. You don't call on them. It's just you want to continue a conversation there. So USA wide 3100, and then this is what I was getting at, that they're formed geographically. So USA is 3100. For New York, it is 3136. And then out of each digit after that, it divides it up into different areas of the state. So 60 is for the New York, New Jersey, PA, tri-state band. 31361 is for upstate. 2 for New York Metro, and so on and so on. 31367 is for the southern tier. So, and again, if you want to talk personally, like you and a friend just wanted to talk, one thing that people always do, I mean, you can always talk in one of the talk groups. You know, the southern tier isn't always super busy. I want to suggest talking to your friend on 91, because that is a very busy channel. But also, if you just wanted to use your 7-digit unique ID number, you can also talk at, that is considered a talk group as well. So, all right, TJF is a little different. They use a single talk group per slot. It's similar to like YSF. When you're talking, there's one talk group that's active. If you start transmitting a different talk group, that talk group will become the active one for that time slot. And it will overwrite the previous one. So you won't hear any, if you were on America Link and you switch to Parrot, you won't hear America Link anymore. It's more straightforward, but it's less flexible. A lot of repeaters or something like that, they'll have multiple static talk groups so that any one of them can transmit and it will key off and you'll hear that conversation. So, TGIF network is also, they allow hams to request the new talk groups. I actually went through and requested one myself for the 73.net site there. So that is 73638. It actually spells out 73net if you look at your handheld. And these guys, again, some of them are geographic, some of them are topics, some of them are clubs. So you got the complaint department. Complaint department is 119. So if you're interested in Skywarn, TGIF Skywarn is 130. Campfire trats, electricians, if you're into gaming or video gaming or board gaming, there's 31163. Model trains, fox hunts, parks on the air. The Who Cares amateur radio group. I just was trying to give a few examples here. There's quite a few of them, but I was just trying to give some examples. And again, well, Texas State races, there also are some races groups as well. And again, 7.3, and that is 7.3.6.3.8. All right, so we will switch gears. I guess I'll pause really quick before we go into the demo if there was any other questions. Big on time. So we'll bring this guy back up. Oh, I gotta move this guy out of the way. There we go. And we are now set up to work with DMR. So we do have DMR. DMR net is on. Our time slot 2, again, simplex. So everything has to be based off of time slot 2. We are connected actually to 2 different networks. So I'll explain this here in just a minute, but we're actually connected to both Brandmeister and TGIF at the same time. So for this, let me switch over to stop sharing. Let's see my camera, I guess. Before this, I do have some of these channels set up. So right now I'm on the Southern Tier talk group, and I see it's just switching to different channels that I have set up. And here I'll have parent. So again, this is W2FJH testing on parent. It's not going to be. What's the test there? If it actually is going to come back or not. So it was always with the demo, that's when everything fails. So yes, our radio's working there. Let's see. Ed is nearby. We can talk on Southern Tier Talk group. This is W2FJH listening on the Southern Tier Talk group 31367.
Good evening, Frank. I hear you loud and clear. This is NE2W, Ed by Atsenango Park. Good evening, Frank. This is NE2W.
Thanks there, Ed. All right, so that was talking on Brandmeister, and as we key up certain things, I could go back to the screen share. I was keying up again there, and you'll notice too that I forgot my Yaesu rig over here. Well, I was talking to, he was also coming through there. So on the Southern Tier Talk group, this kind of jumps ahead a little bit, but there is a bridge between the Southern Tier Talk group and the STNY Wires X room, which is what this rig is sitting in right now. So, all right. So that was on Brandmeister. Again, the room I was talking in was 31367. Now, if we wanted to go into TGIF actually has the same 5-digit talk groups. Most of them are 5-digit. So if we go to, let me show this first, and then if we go to 500990, so that is starts with a 5, the 7-digit number, and I want you. Sorry, is there 9990? 7-digit number starts with a 5, so that's how it's actually going to key off of this, so that I can talk to multiple talk groups. This is W2FJH testing on the TGIF parrot.
Thank you.
So it's also going over the TGIF. So let me once again share the screen and kind of see from the dashboard some of the things that went on there. Ed before was talking with us through there, so we did actually see Ed talking on the 31367 talk group. As you saw here, I was going through 509990. I'll go into the configuration here to just kind of show you. That's kind of the pattern of how you can talk on multiple networks kind of at the same time as part of the DMR gateway. Okay, and I will go into first the configuration, and I'll come back to the admin. So as part of this, when you actually enable DMR mode, you come down here and you'll have your configuration for what mask and everything you're configured with. But some of these other networks, so DMR plus, free DMR, when you enable these, you will see that these use different talk group prefixes. So as part of TGIF, you see it'll say use talk group 5 as a prefix. So I will always give it a 7-digit number. As long as 5 is the first number of that, it will take the rest of the 6 there and transmit into TGIF instead of going through Brandmeister. And the same is true if I wanted to go to some of these other ones, or if I scroll up here really quick to YSF to DMR, or sorry, DMR to YSF, it will use 7 as a prefix. So you can actually also communicate to YSF reflectors from DMR and just give it the 7 prefix. So great. We'll go into the admin, and you'll see that from the TGIF manager, okay, I thought I saw that. I thought they showed on here, but anyways, I will go to my repeater ID here for this. Oh, sign into the TGIF network, which it is TGIF.network. Maybe it might be helpful if I remember my password. Okay, yeah, I remember my password. So you'll see here for number 7, the last thing I transmitted to was 900 there. Now, if I did want to go back to my slides real quick, I'll show you some of the TGIF networks. Anyone in particular? Anybody cares about just the TX there? Otherwise, I'll say the 7.3. So we'll go to 50, 7.3, and ET. And I'll flip back over to here real quick. I'll show you the PTT this. And you'll see my talk group now changed to 73638. That's what the active talk group is that I have listening there. All right. Again, with Brandmeister, there's also the Brandmeister manager. And you can see here that I do have a static talk group, 367. If I did key up, say I want to key up the USA bridge, which is 3100, I do have a channel for that. And yes, I know for chunking is a bad thing, but in DMR, it's a method of manipulating what channels you're currently talking with. So I might need to refresh that. Oh, no, there it is. You'll see that has one of the dynamic talk groups coming in, and it'll have 14 minutes and 45 seconds remaining before it switches over.
Because you turn the static and the dynamic talk group.
So a static group is always assigned to a time slot. It will listen in on that. The dynamic ones are temporary. So I key up after 15 minutes, it drops out and won't be listening to that talk group anymore. If you wanted to continue to listen to that, you'll have to key it back up again and get that back.
So you could chunk.
That's why I could chunk. Yes, to key that up to listen to it. Yep, good question there. Any other questions? Okay. I was expecting a lot more questions. So, okay.
A question, I guess, there are a lot of different protocols,
Yes.
but there are also ways to bridge between them.
Yes.
That's, I guess, the benefit or advantage is that you can interoperate for additional modes.
Some of them you don't have to do anything on it. If you're talking skipping my mind now. If you were talking the QuadNet, yes, the QuadNet. Let's bring up the QuadNet. Go there. Yes. There you go. So the QuadNet is actually connected to multiple networks here. So they're talking on Brandmeister, they're talking on YSF reflectors, they're talking DMR plus, they're talking system fusions, they're on YSF, they're talking wires X. You don't have to do anything. It's bridged. There's other people managing that. You go into room 83453 of wires X. When you talk, you're talking to all of them.
Why would you not use it all the time?
It can get busy. The bigger the network, the busier, or the busier the channel. It's, sometimes it turns into a calling frequency. Like, 91, there is one net that I know of. It's actually the worldwide net. It's the 91 is a worldwide talker on Brandmeister. There is one net. I've listened to part of it sometimes. I think it starts at like 2 o'clock on a Sunday and it rolls on for hours. And basically they just have check-ins. It's just you're calling and they call out different countries one at a time. I'm not going to hold the Southern Tier Talk Group on that busy of a channel. So, but yes, some of the other ones are the smaller channels are best for rag juice. And the mid-sized ones, maybe next, at certain times, but
How does digital simplex compare to analog? Or is there any digital simplex?
there is digital simplex. These two radios can communicate just over RF. And you will hear the quality. Basically, with the digital voice, it's either in or out. There's no, you might hear a little glitch. It might be a momentary glitch or something, but it's typically in or out. It's not trying to hear through the noise or anything else. There's no like waterfall as you get further out.
It's all left.
Yeah, if you go for analog, you get that waterfall effect. You're trying to hear, you kind of make out certain words, but you can't hear it through the noise. With digital, it's either you get it or you just don't hear anything. So. Yeah.
Are there any like nationwide simplex calling channels that don't involve hotspots, like you have two radios?
Yes. There isn't officially there.
Quasi official anything.
Yeah.
Similar to yeah, similar to 5.2.
Yes.
There you go.
No, there was one site. There it is. Yes. They made it and a lot of these will stay the same. These are, I'll blow it up a little bit too, depending on whether you're using
Have a good
VHF or
night.
UHF. Sorry, was there a question on that? Okay.
One of the people I have.
Okay. I have these programmed into my radios as well. Just kind of a simplex, simplex 1, simplex 2, at these frequencies. And this way, if anybody was talking on any of them, I could always just kind of flip a dial and and tune into what they were saying.
Any specific talk group that has to be ready when you're doing that?
Sorry, at the top here, talk group 99. It's for local time slot 1, color code 1. And that's, a calling frequency if you were out and about that, somebody, I know because we don't have too many DMR repeaters or anything in the area. It's kind of, you might be calling out, you might not get a response, depending on who's listening or anything. So, but yes, there are simplex frequencies. Good question. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Let's get back up here and down here. Okay. Moving on to Wires X. Sorry, one more quick thing. If you were talking on a channel and you say, hey, I don't want to hear this anymore. If you actually key up talk group of 4,000, that is your disconnect group. It'll come back to you confirming that everything is. Okay, sorry, super loud there, but it's not like stuff. Okay. And back to the screen share, we'll talk about Wires X. And I think for most of that, well, I guess I could use the camera to show the mobile rig that we have sitting over here. But okay. So Wires X. Wires X is a proprietary software from Yaesu. That is the whole difference between YSF and Wires X. YSF you have on your hotspot, it's open source, you can communicate with it. Wires X you can only get from Yaesu. To do that, you can download it after you've registered with Yaesu. There's a link there for a user's page. You will click on the node owners page, and you will see you have your download links here. Documentation and download for it. After the registration, you'll be provided with a node ID and a room ID from Yaesu. These two IDs are going to be required to even start the software. They'll first pop up and say, hey, what's your node ID and what's your room ID for your serial number? And they don't match up, they won't start talking. So, all right, quick overview. I know this is going to be an eye chart, but it was kind of the general areas of the software. I will be pulling up the software. Hopefully you guys will be able to see the actual text of it much more cleanly. But at the top here, you'll see your bookmarks. These you can highlight so that they're keep track of the ones that you'd like to connect to. This is the banner of the current room that you're sitting in with what nodes are also sitting in that room. This is a list of users that has been contacted through Yaesu's master servers, and they'll pull down the user numbers that you can communicate with. And down here is all the rooms. Right. And over on the right here, this will be your last heard, the room that you're in, your log of what's going on, and this will be your room description. So Wires X can operate in two different modes. It can be a portable digital node, which if you are in this configuration, it is a digital, you will only be allowed into digital rooms only. If you operate as a portable HRI, you will be able to be entered into digital or analog rooms. Typically, even though I don't operate under analog, I will still operate in HRI mode, because then I'm free to enter into any of the Wires X rooms. Even though I'm only going to be transmitting digital, I don't plan on transmitting any analog. I'll still operate under HRI. So Wires X has two forms of operation that I have kind of pictured here. The first is in direct mode. So you will have your PC I'm sorry, you'll have your HT or mobile rig connected up to your PC, going out to the internet. You'll be operating directly off of that radio. The other one is in access mode, where you will have your mobile rig, HT or etc. connected up to your laptop, but you will actually be transmitting off of a remote Yaesu radio over C4FM to that node to transmit out to the internet. Any questions there before we? Oh, okay. Yeah. Which also tell me if I'm going too fast or if you have. So, we're going to be demonstrating both of these. So, all right. Let's get into it. This is the WiresX software. So again, sure. I'm actually not quite sure if I can zoom in any of the text. You ever know that before? If there's a way like zooming in the text on WiresX software. But hopefully you guys can, it's big enough on there to at least see some of the text there. Back good. Yeah. I'll run with it anyways. So right now we're currently sitting in the STNY WiresX room. So again, if we're running in direct mode, my mobile rig sitting right here. I'm here. I can change my rooms if I wanted to go. Do I have? Yeah, I have the N9 RAM room. That's the Southern Tier System Fusion room. I can right click. I can say connect. And I'll be in that room now. Actually, if I have my volume up, there's actually N2 EUS. It's communicating right now over that room. So. So oh, they have a net on right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Happy accident.
No.
Um,
Oh, that guy's right there, wire.
okay. But as you can see here, they'll show the nodes.
thank you
here in
all very
green, You'll
much.
see the node that's talking, and then the person that's actually communicating, what node they're communicating off of and who's talking.
And you'll notice in the purple bar there, there's box over, from the right, says WA2QL node 2. That's the, fusion repeater that's sitting right out in the green building.
Oh,
So see, that's connected right in. So if you got 444.1, you put it in, you'll hear what's coming out of it.
so if you were looking into joining in on the System Fusion net, WiresX is going to be the direction you're going to want to go to. Any questions on that before I switch over to the portable mode? Which I guess it-
Double check, that radio is plugged into your USB, right?
Yes. So yeah, let me for the folks that are online, a little bit of a cord mess over here, but let me switch over to, let me stop screen sharing and switch over to my camera here, and should be able to kind of bring this around here. So this is the FTM 500 that my internet connection is unstable. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. That's the FTM. It says direct right now. And this corded mess you'll see in the backside here. It'll just plug into the data. It'll come around. Here is so this is the SCU 39, if I'm not mistaken. This cable here is actually going into an audio. This is the
56. This
is 56.
that's the 52.
Yeah. So this is the SCU 56, and because it came with this piece too, I want to say it was SCU 39, but I could be mistaken. I'd have to Google it really quick. But yeah, that data cable is separate for WiresX. And again, we're talking over a dummy load here. You know, we're operating 5 watts and stuff. You're not doing, you don't need to go overboard with some, some of the power for this, but yeah, that's how it's connected. Any other quick questions?
How do the different modes compare in terms of popularity or take rate? With DMR, Fusion, wireless?
It kind of depends on you know, some of the area that you're looking at getting into. Like if you want to talk to your local hams, you know, around the town or something, then you kind of go with what they have there. If they have D-Star, then you go with D-Star. If they have, you know, Yaesu, then you go with Yaesu. But if you know, you're looking at some of the bigger networks, I know like DMR is growing in popularity. And I kind of say the reason why DMR is growing in popularity is because the other ones, Yaesu and also D-Star, they're proprietary connections. You have to buy an icon. You have to buy Yaesu. You can't. DMR, basically the only proprietary thing that they have is the voice encoder, which is one of the chips that's actually doing the decrypting well, not the decrypting, but the encoding or decoding of the voice there. It's made by many manufacturers. As you see, this one here is an Anytone. This one here is a BTEC. This one here is a Radiodity. Because of that, more competition, cheaper prices for us. So, yeah. But yeah, if you're looking to call on your friend, you know, out in Texas or, you know, California or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can use any one you want. So, yeah. Any other questions, or I can do this fairly. So this next step is just, I was just going to demonstrate the portable HRI mode, and hopefully you guys, sorry about the shaky camera, I'm just moving things around. Hopefully you can see that. Literally, when I'm in this mode, it's only a 1 button push. So there you go. We're now into the access mode. So as part of that, I will just take this and put my channel here. Yes, Parsecs, the VHF. So I just keyed up there, right? Let me just also just double check. You'll see here when I actually use the wires X button here, it's pretty solid now. So it will tell me that I'm in an N9 RIM room. I'll hit search and direct. I will first quickly change over to my so I can't transmit while somebody else is receiving. So yeah, it's going from this radio to that radio. But I could take this. I mean, granted, I have it on a dummy load. It's only 5 watts on a dummy load. But I mean, this could also go up to 50 watts. But you could go very far away. A very powerful hotspot that you could reach. And I think, Ford, isn't there a few folks that actually open up the portable PDN to?
Yeah, some do.
Okay.
And I've done it from my place, you know, I could go an hour or two away from the house with my mobile and talk back to the node radio at the house.
Yeah, you could get quite a bit of distance by doing this way, but oops. What's that?
There's almost sort of like clock pin.
Kind of crossband repeat. It's just it's being passed through that node into the internet. So it's kind of like it's not duplex. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a full repeater, but it's kind of like a mini repeater, I guess, if you want to say it for your own use or,
What's the transfer, one or the other?
yeah, it's simplex. It's,
In a remote mode, you transmit RF. When you're in the direct mode, you're not transmitting any RF from the radio.
Oh, okay, direct.
Correct.
Alright,
Direct is going right from the
Yeah.
microphone on the radio right into the internet.
okay.
correct. Yeah, so direct mode, no RF activity, you're talking directly in the computer. And sorry, I switched to the wrong room here, but, I'm gonna go turn it back to the SDNY room. And I was just gonna note here too, that some of the settings here that they don't work on YSF when you're talking to the hotspot. For wires X, they do work. If I go to search and direct, if I say all, it's gonna go get every room that's out there, and it's gonna give me the ones that have the most active nodes right now in that room. So I'm gonna see the KC wide, 138 nodes right now in that area. Well, feeling not sure what that CQ room is, but there's Texas Nexus with 29. Yeah, there's America Link with 25 nodes connected currently. So if I wanted to go into America Link, I would just click that and oh, apparently I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry, sausage fingers here. We'll get it this time. And they will be connected to America Link. So. And also just one other thing, like again, if I knew I wanted to go to KC wide with Wires X, this feature actually works too, that you can actually search for certain rooms. If you just put in KC, it will show up for everything that has, something that has KC in there. And I thought I would get KC wide in my list here, but apparently was not descriptive enough. But okay. Questions, thoughts, comments? We're doing pretty good, actually.
You see, where the word close before, that's a DMR pain point. Does that apply also in the other modes or similar? programming?
Yaesu is a little easier. You basically are just gonna need the frequency that you're talking on there. A lot of it, you'll see where it's direct and see like what talk groups, rooms you're talking in directly from your radio. I mean, I guess they don't call anything with the Yaesu a code plug. It's just kind of the programming. But again, you can make it as complex as you'd like. Oops, I'm in VFO mode there. But yeah, I have quite a few channels and everything through here. So, but yeah, honestly, code plugs I don't think are as bad as they make it out to be. It's just you kind of have to have talk group, the time slot, and other, 6 other things all in line. And if you don't, it might not work. So if you have everything in line, you have the right talk group, right time slot, but you have the color code off, it's not going to work. So that's why I think some people get frustrated with it, because you kind of, and you gotta kind of have everything right in it. So yeah.
So, you're doing the access mode. Does it count that other radio as a node too, or just the one that is the gate?
So when I'm talking, I can pull it up here. I'm not sharing my screen. Let me share my screen one more time.
I'm just curious if there could be more.
Let me go into here. So when I communicate on this, it will turn up. So this is, I think this is W2FJH, if I'm not mistaken. The ND4, node 4 is this guy here. So it will likely come up that I'm talking off of node 4. That's my base, that's my repeater that I'm talking to. But I'm actually talking to you from the HT. So this is W2FJH testing. Yeah, so I must have it as W2FJH, the HT as the node, but you saw that it did come up as node 4. That's where it's communicating in through. And that's node 4 is the one that's connected here as one of the nodes.
So if we both had radios, would still show node 4, even though there's more people, right?
Correct. Like if anybody else had a Yaesu and you wanted to flip to 145.7, if you started communicating on that, you'd be coming through this node.
Right, okay, but that was one screen where it shows like the number of people or the number of nodes
Yes,
in the room. There could be more people at nodes.
correct. There could be more people hearing you. It's just that's where it's getting basically like the nodes. You can also think of the repeaters that they're going out somewhere. But there could be, one of these nodes could have 50 people listening to it. So
If you connect to 21424, just bring that up, it will show all the nodes that are on that. They're, a lot of them
Oh,
are connected all the time, like the repeaters. They're connected all the time, so they're,
yeah,
right, like right there, you see, you'll see AV2HS node. That's a radio right at my house. It's connected all the time. So, and one over here, Topornik, N3LD, his is showing there. Could be. So, a lot of these are repeaters and what have you. They're tied in all the time. They're right in the system.
Could anyone connect to that repeater if they're on the, they have Yaesu, they're on the same frequency? Is there any?
if I talk here, it goes out to all nodes of that room.
You can hear on your wired router, our fusion, them talking Campbell and everything right here on your mobile.
Well, let's say if somebody else, like you can talk through that. Did somebody else talk through that radio?
Yes, I was saying that anybody else in the room had a Yaesu. Well, this is an FT3DR, but now this is actually outdated. Now that there's a 5DR
70.
or the 70D. You could, if you, yeah, it's. I've heard it's a little tricky to change rooms directly off of the 70D because it's not. But you can definitely C4FM and you connect into there. You'll be talking there.
Because see, with this radio like it is a node, it's already connected to the room. So all you're doing is talking RF back and forth.
Right.
You're not having to program your radio to,
Let's say Frank is talking through it, he's controlling what room you want to. If you got on your HT and went through there, you could take control of it. And conflict with what Frank.
no, the radio still stays connected to the node.
What he's saying is that if you also had your radio, you press the wires X,
Right.
you could change the room on me. Yes,
No priorities.
it's gentleman's agreement. there.
A lot of those you see up there, you can't take them all in the room. They're blocked, so they stay linked all the time.
Gotcha.
There's some that you can, what we call surf with. We had some N3LD, you can take that out of the room and take it like to America Link or something like that. After so many minutes of non-activity, and then it goes back in the room.
And that's
A lot of these others, they're blocked all the time. They're there.
That's a different gentleman, so it's good.
We don't play with.
Yeah, there is a setting right there, return to room.
Yeah.
And you have a specific timeout that, I mean, right now mine's unlimited, it just goes, but you say, oh, well, 5 minutes. If you did change it, it's going to change back in 5 minutes back into that room again. But I will note, I do have it later on in the slides here. Any of the System Fusion repeaters do not change the rooms. So leave them the way that they're linked. Otherwise, I think Ford will come hunt you down if you change the room.
Well, the thing is, the way they set this up was originally a way to link a bunch of repeaters together and keep them all that way. And, and they did it so that way that everything was tied together all the time. And you didn't have people going off and taking them to other places and then not putting them back into the room. So,
So do apologize, I am running a bit late on time here, so I will continue on just with slides here real quick. Don't really have many more to go through, so. So we're gonna talk the Southern Tier activity. I think we kind of already glanced over some of this. The Southern Tier Fusion Network. 11 repeaters around the Southern Tier. All repeaters are connected to the Southern Tier Fusion Network room. The wires X room is 21424. Again, as I mentioned, do not change the room on these repeaters. There's a weekly net on Sundays at 8 p.m. And for more information, I gave a link down there about the Fusion Network.
and then on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock also, that's the one that was on time.
Yeah, I was looking for that, and I couldn't remember if that was the Wednesday night, but I was trying to find. Okay, so I'll make sure to edit my slides here in case they post them somewhere else to say it's also on Wednesday nights. All right, there also is the Southern Tier Digital Voice network there. So we don't have any repeaters around the Southern Tier. Maybe someday. We operate on a bridge, so there is a wires X room, 83721. And that is bridged to the Brandmeister talk group 31367. So if I actually switch over really quick, I'm still operating in DMR over there. Sorry.
More connect to.
So this is yes and no, not the Southern Tier Fusion Network. They're on a different room, but the STNY room is 83721. This here has a bridge that is talking into DMR.
This
Now, if I
2W testing, NE2W testing.
so, you'll see here that both my Yaesu and my DMR just came up. Thank you, Ed, for the demonstration there. Both radios just came up because Ed, were you coming in through DMR or were you coming in? Well, you're not coming in through wires X. So yeah, he was coming in through DMR, but it is being handed over to the wires X room.
Yes, DMR on a Radidity.
Okay, thanks, Ed. But yeah, that bridge is always up. If it's not up, feel free to email me. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe I have a power outage or something at my house. So, but typically I try to keep that up and running. So it keeps anybody who already has a Yaesu product, you already bought into, you got an FT3DR or something. So you're getting into wires X, but you still want to talk to the people on DMR. You can talk in that room, and it will also talk with the people that are talking on DMR. So, all right, going back to the slides here. We do also have a weekly net. Ours is a Sunday at 7 p.m. And there's a link there for more information about our net and also the bridge here. So. Right, additional ways to connect. There is hose line. There's a link here. Hose line, it's Brandmeister only, and it is listen only. The beauty of it is though, free to use, no accounts, anybody can listen. And that means it's also accessible on a tablet, your phone, anywhere you have a browser. You can listen into Brandmeister, and it will come up and you can actually hear the audio from that. You don't have to even be a ham. Tell your friends and family that, hey, you want to listen to this, it's just hose.brandmeister.network, and it will show you all the active. If there's a box around it and it's lit up, somebody's talking on that right now. So if I go to, I just saw USA Bridge. We're listening to USA Bridge too.
This is NE2W testing on 31367 NE2W.
All right, that's Ed texting me. Yep, we're getting you loud and clear there, Ed. Okay. Yeah, if I would have listened on hose line too, we would have heard Ed coming through that as well. but yeah, give it a try. It's that simple. Click on that and go and listen in on some of the nets or something. DroidStar. It's also great for Android, iOS, and PC. This one, it's not just receive, you can actually transmit on this as well. And it is free. So I know some people might consider it cheating or something because there's no radio to talk to, but it's great as a backup alternative. If that, something's not working right, your hotspot's not working or something, or you just want to get into it for free and then see if you like it before you actually invest any money. They will do ISF, DMR, M17, NXDN, but again, Wires X, because it's proprietary, you need to buy a Yaesu radio to get into Wires X. Just not to confuse complete separation between YSF and Wires X. So, the thumbstick or the DV stick 30. I have one of them. These are USB devices. And on them, they actually contain. Sorry, I brought a whole ton of stuff, so I'm not sure where I placed it now. But they do have the AMD 3000 voice encoder, and you will see it right here on them. So DroidStar, it's all software-based voice encoding. All the encoding and decoding is all software-based. These ones you plug into your PC, you use Blue DV. It will use the hardware of the actual voice encoders that you'll find in a lot of the radio. So you're getting the radio quality audio from them. This is also the way that I actually stream the audio. So we have our weekly nets at 7 p.m. on Sundays. I actually stream the audio through my laptop and out to YouTube to broadcast out. For most of the nets, we try to record them. So this way, you missed it, you had something going on, life happens. You could always tune back in. And this was just this last Sunday, the 15th. Some of these I have taken the time to try to reduce, so crop out all of the silences in between. But let me just scoot on ahead here. And you'll see in this box here is the actual Blue DV talking. This is NetLogger. It's kind of as you go through, as you scoot down through here, you'll see we're moving on down through the net there. You'll see that purple bar of who's the next check-in. So again, the quality of that, it's kind of coming in through Blue DV, so you're getting the hardware base, but then it's actually going out through OBS. So then the audio again is getting encoded again to go out to YouTube and everything. So, but we do it live if you ever wanted to tune in. We do have that YouTube channel, and you can listen to the net. So it's another way to tune into the net if you can't get in through any other means. So, all right. Just a quick overview, the modes and devices. I know I'm super running late here, and I do apologize. So for YSF, Brandmeister, TJF, and Wires X, for repeaters, YSF, Brandmeister, TJF, no, we don't have any repeaters in the area, not in the southern tier. There are, if you do any traveling, I know there's a few in like Syracuse, Buffalo area. And actually I could point out through Brandmeister, they can actually have a map of like where there's a lot of repeaters in the area. So, and for Wires X, there are repeaters, but again, I would have put a check mark there, but there's no changing rooms. So there are repeaters for Wires X, but it's only for the Southern Tier System Fusion room. So if you have a hotspot, YSF, Brandmeister, TJF, all good. You can communicate with that. Again, Wires X, no, you can't get through Wires X through a hotspot. PC, all checks, depending on what radio you have there. Wires X, again, you require radio. These other ones you can get through open source software. Phone, tablet, on the go. Again, everything but Wires X. So, all right. Any last minute questions? I'm sorry for.
So there's no gateway from YSF and WireX?
Yes. So I didn't set that up because there's it adds more complexity the more things we branch out to. Or at least for the STNY room. I just went directly to DMR. We could have done a YSF reflector, but then we'd have to tie the YSF reflector in with DMR. And for the most part, whether if you have a hotspot, it doesn't matter if you have a Yaesu product or any DMR, you can crosstalk. So if you have DMR, again, that whole thing is I would have a 7, my talker with my prefix, a 7, and then I can talk to any YSF reflector from there. If you're on Yaesu and you have a hotspot, you can actually go into the list and say, I want YSF to DMR. And then you can actually select from the list of like what talk groups you want to actually have active for that. So it doesn't matter when you have a hotspot, you can go across either one. So I figured anybody with Yaesu, instead of going to a YSF reflector, they could use YSF to DMR to get to the Brandmeister talk group. So
There's no way to go from YSF to WireX?
there is, and there's people who do that. They have a WireX room, and they have one reflector, and they just take the WireX to that YSF reflector. They don't care about bridging a DMR or anything. They're just giving it that, okay, we have this, and if somebody's traveling with a hotspot, they can also talk and come into our rooms there or go off of our repeaters. But again, it's part of a bridge. You're getting outside of the bounds of the Wires X proprietary software. So the more bridging, the more complex it gets. But one bridge is not really too. Literally, I have a hotspot and I have another node. The node is sitting in the room. The hotspot is listening off of that frequency. Again, they transmit back, and they're crossing over that way. So not super complicated to get that. When you're talking QuadNet, yeah, complicated to go over that many different networks and everything. They have a lot going on. So
All right, we have another question. Otherwise, we could also, Frank, if you want, you can come on up and ask them directly. But well, any other questions from the those on?
yep, I was just saying thanks. Here's my contact information and a little joke to end the presentation. So
Thanks, Frank. And I think that's one of the great things about when you come to a club, having access to people that really know, portions of our hobby very intently and very deeply. And so, I know a couple of presentations ago, there was a talk on FT8, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3, club members said, "Oh, geez, I just got on FT8
yeah,
So thanks again for sharing your expertise, your passion for this, and we'll hopefully get a little more activity on DMR. All right, so coming up, Vessel 20K is this Saturday, 7:30, field day, the following weekend, and so please, if you're gonna participate, reply to one of the comments. One of the surveys. I'm sorry. All right,